piggyback off of what you just said about how we take into consideration what the fans are saying. Like, there's a lot of things that happen in the fan art and the stuff that was like being written, or just things that they exuded on social media about the characters that like influenced them in a positive way. Like, for instance, people kept drawing Rich with a red streak in his hair when we were at Two River, after Two River, before we transferred to Off-Broadway, and I was like, I guess we should just put a red streak in my hair then, huh? Like, truly, those little, because in the book he has a red streak, and like at Two River, we were like, we only have so much time to do this much stuff. So when we had the time to really focus on that, I was like, yeah, let's see what that does. And like, honestly, everyone was like, red streak! Like, it actually made a difference. But that's the thing, like, I've never seen a show do that before, actually listen to everyone.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with I mean, you know, for me growing up, you know, finding people who like the same weird things I liked, whether it was musicals or comic books or sci-fi, and you know, I would find those communities online. So, you know, when we were doing Be More Chill in New Jersey, I would always joke, I'd be like, you know, oh, well, the fan fiction would pick up on this, or like, you know, I feel like I was the first person to like have like fan headcanons for the characters, even though I also like wrote them with Joe. So like when there started actually being fan art and fan characters, I would start off like, when I'd see it, I'd send it to Joe, but soon there was like so much that I just couldn't send it. I would like, couldn't read it, it's just like a tidal wave. But you know what was so moving about that was because when people would, you know, I love creating something that inspires other people to create. And when people would, you know, take these characters we all made together and tell their own stories with them, or depict them in their own art, what they were picking up on is the same things that mattered to us, which is like what was so weird and interesting and different and iconic about these people. And you know, they felt, the fact that these characters felt as real to the fans as it did to all of us when we created them together, you know, felt really, really special. And that was when I think it's one of my most proud moments as an artist, is to feel like I had that shared effect with people.
It's been very well documented how unique our trajectory is to Broadway, but one of the other things I think makes our show unique is because there's this foundation of family and so many long-term collaborations, it feels like the bass player is as important as the leading actor, as important as the intern. It really just feels like that vibe. I feel like there are so many things about our show that are unique. A lot of you have touched on this, but are there things that feel different about Be More Chill than other shows you've worked on in different ways?
The other day, while we were having rehearsal, Katie made sort of a joke in the air. She was like, how will they tell us apart? And it's because there's so much diversity in this show that I haven't seen in a very long time on a Broadway stage. There is no one who is built alike, looks alike, comes from the same background. We all find things that we have in common that can bring us together as a community, but we all come from everywhere and everything and look like everybody. And I'm just so proud to be a part of a piece of art that is like that.
You know, Joe, Trace, and I had we were crying. We were talking about how this show has kind of clarified our mission statements as artists. And kind of going back to what you said is like, learning through this show that that the art we create can have a very positive effect and impact on you, specifically with this show, on young people. Like, I came out of the closet to my father when I was 30 years old. This was 2 years ago. And at the stage doors off Broadway, I met so many young people who knew so much about themselves and were so unapologetically them, and were just doing them and being themselves and being proud of themselves. And it's mind-blowing to be a part of something that started as an amazing summer in New Jersey that has now become this thing that has helped people break out of their shells and own who they are. And so it's interesting now, going beyond Be More Chill, like we talked about, like the kind of things that we want to spend our lives working on, and it's become clear to us because of this show and because of you that like the things we want to create are hopefully things that are gonna help and kind of impact society, whether it's like on a scale like this or on a Broadway stage, you know?
Well, I think yes, clap for that.
we clap for the state of Connecticut, we should clap for that.
Although I have to say, I went to Connecticut recently and I love Connecticut.
To build up Connecticut here, Connecticut gets enough praise.
Yeah, a lot of rich people live in Connecticut.
But the water is nice. The water is nice there. Anyway, okay, but so in the context of, I feel like this, you know, what a Broadwaycon and a weekend full of conversations around the Broadway industry and the Broadway industry. I think what's really special and what was really affirming for me about this show and its trajectory is that in the cheesiest way, it's like, oh, love can win. Like, love does win, actually. And I find that so often times I meet creatives and artists who, you know, you come to New York and you have all these visions and the business is really hard and there are a lot of people telling you no, but if you really continue to check in with that core center of yourself of why you want to make work to begin with, then like there are realities like this one in which it can happen. I mean, it's not every day that this specific trajectory happens, but I feel like it's such a win for the entire community, both artistically and the budding artists, because it's like, yeah, just trust, like that's possible, and that can take you so far and so deep and help you arrive in the higher echelons of commercial theater in 2019 with the people that you love most. And I think that, that is something I love about our trajectory.
It's also changing commercial theater. This is commercial theater and it was created from the internet, which is like a whole new thing that we have been able to achieve, which we didn't know we were able to achieve. And it sort of goes into our show. Our show's about technology. Technology helped our show. It's very strange how all the stars line up like that.
I think that from the top down, we've just been put in a position to have a unique experience. Being in a Broadway show is stressful for everybody. Like, it's a miracle for it to happen, and it's crazy for the creatives, for the house staff, for the producers. And in this particular situation with Be More Chill, I feel like everyone leads with love, from Stephen Brackett to you to like, I can go up to our writer and say, hey man, I'm feeling this, and he's not gonna be like, shut the hell up, say what I say. You know, that's unique. Like, that is, we're all validated constantly and we're taken care of constantly, and I've never been abused in a show, but most of the time I know that I have a place, and that place is in a box, and I have to speak a certain way to my director, or I have to speak a certain way to my producers, and here I feel like I can really just be my full self, and that is unique, and I hope it's a reflection and a model for shows to come, because this happens because what happens at the top happens, and we have a good setup.
To learn the show was going to Broadway.
I wept like a child.
You wept in a bathtub.
I wept in a bathtub. Yeah, well, first I wept in the middle of a circle of people. Truly, we were all crying. It's on the internet. And then I climbed into the famous crying bathtub, and I called my mom, and then I got an email from Stephen Brackett the next day that was like, you were in the bathtub, and I was like, and that's why I didn't say anything to you. You looked busy. And it was the greatest thing in the world. So it's similar to what we've been talking about, what makes the show unique and different. You are often told in various settings, yes, you should be talented, yes, you should work hard, but always, the person who is nice to, who is a pleasure to work with and who is kind is going to get the job over some talented jerk. And you're told this very often, and you, not often, but like often enough, see evidence to the contrary. So you're like, oh, is that really true? I don't know if I believe it. I'm gonna keep repeating it because I want it to be true. But this process makes that feel very damn true. It makes it feel like you can sort of stick to your guns and stick with your people, like the people you love and the things you love. The art that you love, and if you really do work hard and really are nice to people, then like it really can happen like you always hoped it would happen. And so with the day that we were told we were going to Broadway was like truly just sort of mind-altering for me in terms of like how it can happen.
One of my, oh sorry, clap for, yes. Hey, mine's blown, it all turns. One of my favorite things about finding out about Broadway in that moment and like we had to do a whole show right after that, which was insane. Like everyone's like spontaneously crying backstage, like suddenly.
Oh yeah, but we weren't allowed to tell anyone that we knew.
Oh yeah, so it was all like that stage door, everyone's just like about to explode inside.
For like 2
but
weeks.
one of my favorite things was like, this is my Broadway debut. And it's several of our Broadway debuts.
Yeah, raise your hand if it's your Broadway debut.
That is so exciting, but like to see y'all who have been on Broadway many a time being as emotional and as excited as I was like, oh okay, this is as big of a deal as I want it to be. You know what I mean? Like everyone is so just straight psyched about all this, and it was just like very affirming. It's not just like, okay, this is your turn, and now it'll be someone else's turn.
Well,
it was just everyone was cry, floor. Like it was.
It's just the first time, you know, like, I mean, I can only speak on, you know, for us, it's like the first time in my professional life that I truly felt like I gave my all to something and it was accepted. It wasn't stifled, it wasn't stopped, it wasn't hindered. It's exactly a collaboration, and that does not happen so often on Broadway. It doesn't happen so often off Broadway or in readings or workshops. In fact, it happens this much in a lifetime in professional theater, and everyone wants to believe that it's a collaboration, but truly, this situation is a collaboration. Everything we have created has been together and it's been talked about. Yeah, we've disagreed, we've said like, I'll try something, and then they'll be like, absolutely not. And that's fine, man. We just want to build the best product, and that is why. Because it feels like we gave our all to it. It doesn't feel like a job, it feels like, oh, this is a historical moment in our lives that we have to seize and now really service and do it correctly, because there's a lot of things and a lot of people that are counting on it. And it's like, that doesn't happen, man. That does not happen. It's not just a Broadway show, it's Be More Chill. It is a very special thing.
Here's a quick fun fact. Jen Tepper told us that we had an automation rehearsal.
Yeah.
To get everybody to you know, have this meeting beforehand without actually telling us that we were going to Broadway, and it worked. It worked. They told us, like, you know, before our day off, for the most part, and I didn't even really think about it until I was at the theater the day of, like, about to have our automation rehearsal, because one of the portals is automated and they needed to, you know, apparently like fix the timing of the cues, which it made sense, until I saw Jen Tepper walk by me in a full Rent the Runway pink ball gown.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is not,
That's the first thing you said to me, though. I walked into the dressing room, you were the only one in there. You were like...
I was sleeping under the
It was also suspicious that there was a tripod being set up literally in the way of the thing we were rehearsing automation for.
I also wanted to say, I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and it feels appropriate for Broadwaycon. This Broadway season is going to be so incredible, and I'm so honored that we get to be a part of it. And I think growing up, I didn't grow up really around theater, and when I went to college, I just wanted to do experimental theater and contact improv for the rest of my life. And I was always like, oh, you know, Broadway, yeah, they're gonna do like another production of Annie, like Annie's great, that's fine. And I just never felt excited about Broadway, and I recently had this deep, very profound revelation that Broadway is so, when done right, and with like really artistic voice and push-pull, challenging the current world we live in, when artists' work are really being put up on Broadway stages, it is perhaps like one of the most important things that we have in this country. Because we do a show on Broadway, and then people from all over the world come to see Broadway shows, and then they take those shows that are on Broadway stages, and they do it at their community theaters, they do it all around the world, they start, that's the canon, right? That's the canon of work that people share. And so I feel like so humbled to be able to be this little engine that could in this like badass Broadway season, because it feels like this is what Broadway's about, like it's very exciting, and it's also really great that this show was thinking about young people and theater. Like most of people's first introduction to the performing arts is through theater of some sort, whether it's like improv after school, or theater program after school, or theater class. And to do a show that revolves around young people, that is so close to home, and being able to offer those words to you all, that feels very rich, and not having you play like a 70-year-old man, very rich. That's very powerful, because those are the words that you say like 5 times a week at your high school, and that's empowering you also. That's like a transfer of artistic energy.
I have to say, on this very stage at the first Broadwaycon several years ago, I don't know, was anyone at the first Broadwaycon? There was a crazy snowstorm. A lot of people couldn't make it here. There was an impromptu Chris Rodriguez concert on this stage. Our friend and family member, Chris Rodriguez, and someone ran up to Joe and was like, "Oh my God, can you play Broadway Here I Come?" And he ran on stage and played it for her. She hadn't rehearsed it. She sang it. It was amazing. It was in this room. And I remember people coming up to me that night, and I always feel like this when that very complicated anthem of Joe Iconis is sung, is like, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get to Broadway. We're gonna make it happen. And like, it's full circle. We're doing this. This is happening. Broadway, February 13th, first preview. Get your tickets if you haven't already. What are you most excited about what's gonna happen at the Lyceum? How are you feeling about what's next, and what are you most looking forward to?
I'm gonna go. I'm specifically excited that our show, which is so feels so current and feels so people like call it contemporary and edgy and all those sort of things. It feels so now, right? Be more chill. I love that it's existing in the oldest continually operating theater on Broadway. This idea of our crazy sci-fi, musical comedy that's like gleaming and candy-colored and very slick looking is going to be in this like gorgeous old theater. And to me, it so speaks to the kind of soul of Be More Chill, because as much as Be More Chill is this this thing that deals with technology and issues of modern society, it is in its bones a really classic musical comedy. I'm someone who grew up and continue to be just a total theater geek, and I only listened to cast albums until I was in college, and my songwriting is very much rooted in like traditional musical theater songwriting, and it's it sounds new and it sounds like it's music for 2019, but it's really it's like classic stuff. And so I love that like Be More Chill is finally getting to be in this home that's the sort of as classic and like old school as you can get. And so I'm super excited to see that happen.
I'm excited about seeing how beneficial the show has been for the people that have already seen it, or who haven't even already seen it, but have heard the music on the internet. It has created, people have talked about this, it has created friendships, it has allowed parents to talk with their kids about issues that they didn't fully understand beforehand. I'm excited to see that spread to a wider audience, because I want to have a world full of an army of people that are inclusive and people that are authentic and people that are leading from a place of warmth and love and celebrating what makes them unique. That's what I'm excited about.
So says the script.
I'm excited for my parents to see it. it is it's a special damn thing. It ties back to, you were saying like, Gerard's been on Broadway like 7,000 times at this point. But it's like never not Broadway. It's like never not, when I was like in 4th grade and went to see Cats. And I was like, wow, that's incredible. And then like that slowly became like, that's a thing I want to do. And my parents have been truly the most supportive people in the entire world. I don't think anyone has more supportive parents than I do. Clap for them, they're great. And they've supported not just me, but many of the people on this stage and many of the people in our show and in our world. And I'm excited for like my parents to see all their kids up there, not just me.
I'm excited to watch. When we found out about Broadway, I like went into shock, and then I started crying because I looked around and knew about all of these Broadway debuts that were going to be happening. And so, these 3 creative hearts and minds I am obsessed with and love so much, and to watch them make their debuts, and to watch Marcus and Jason SweetTooth Williams and Katie Carlson. And me, because I just graduated high school 2 years ago. No, it's really thrilling to watch people that I love so much and who I respect so much and who work so hard to get to watch them make their debuts with this show in particular makes my heart explode with rainbows and smiley face emojis.
It's
happening right now.
It's just one of those moments you don't take for granted. And no matter how many Broadway shows one does, or no matter how many great experiences you have, this experience right here is so special because it has truly been driven by the love of everyone who's been impacted by it, not just us, because we are very impacted by it, clearly, but everyone who has heard it or seen it or even just heard about it and was interested in it. Truly, we are only here because of that, and that is so exciting to be able to then translate that to thousands of people a week. Are you kidding me? That is so unbelievable that this show that we thought was so special and so good and almost like too good for Broadway, you know what I mean? Like it's like, oh man, this is like too much of the dream. The dream is happening, and it's happening, and we are not going to do it incorrectly. I can guarantee you that.
I hope not.
Britton might.
I hope we'll do it correctly. We gotta do a show. But I'm really excited I'm a family person, so I like being around cool, smart, funny, complicated, weird, crazy people a lot. So it's nice to be around these people and to not have that go away soon, because I feel like there's a lot that we can learn from each other. There's a lot that I can bring to the theater and be like, yo, this is how I'm feeling, and there will be somebody out of these 13 who will listen, and that's cool. Yeah.